coach. You got to be a coach and make sure that you uplift others and you are also lifting yourself.
Yes.
That's a very, very strong point.
Yes, absolutely. That's what the moment I read it also, I was able to relate to it. And, as a coach, I've seen in so many corporates, many people, because of insecurity, fear, doubt, anxiety, different reasons, they don't want to give away the authority and the power.
Yeah, that is what the knowledge is power. They never said the position is power. Positions are always temporary.
True.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Very,
what
very
they coined.
beautifully said. Yes. Very, very well said on that. Yeah. Yes. And so I'm also just reflecting on this point as we speak. It may sound easier said than done, but actually implementing it, where the competition is too high in a corporate.
Yeah.
How does one actually get to do it is what I'm thinking. Knowledge is power, definitely I agree, and I'm sure everybody else also would agree with it. But how can one effectively practice it?
Yes, when I meet several customers, when we meet customers, when we give proposal, we have something called TNC. We all know TNC is the terms and conditions. I tell any customer, initially it is a TNC, terms and conditions. The moment order comes, there is again a TNC. They will say, again there is a TNC. That's a trust and commitment.
Lovely.
That's a trust and confidence.
Right.
So when you have a confidence, trust on your team members, I think empowerment naturally go from this end to other.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think that's a very key that you have unlocked. Thank you. Thanks for that, Ravi. Next to you, Aishi. Again, I know I spoke about the excuses, but what is your take? Because there's a very nice line in the book, the author says, no great life was ever built on the foundation of excuses. So any experience about the excuses that you would like to talk about?
I'd like to go back to how I got my first job. I got my first job from XIMB at Asian Paints, and before that there were a lot of campus drives happening. Multiple companies had visited already on the campus, and unfortunately I was not able to make it through even the group discussion round. And the author talks about the invisible fences in the book, right?
Yeah.
And those fences, they get built because of the failures that the life has thrown at you. You become so scared that it's very difficult for you to take that leap of faith, right? So when this company visited my first organization, at that time, in my personal life, my brother was about to get married. And I was like, okay, if I go back to my family without a job, I probably will not be allowed to step in, was my thought, my initial fear. So that's when, and because of that, physiologically, I was so scared. I think I was having fever as well. And mentally, I was severely anxious. But then again, I thought that, what the hell, I mean, it's okay. I have nothing to lose, I'll just go and sit. So enough of excuses. I mean, before that, because of my health, I had made a couple of excuses that I'll probably miss the drive, I'm not keeping well, I'll not be the best version of myself, I do not want to go. So, but this time, I was like, fine, it's okay, let's power through, let's see what the day has to bring. And I ended up surprising myself. I mean, I excelled through the GD, I surprised myself in the interviews as well. And that's when my corporate journey started. And during my journey as well, multiple times, because like I previously said, there were a lot of physiological and mental barriers in my life because of my going to my head. And each time my mind would tell me to just stop, pause, it's okay, take your time, it's fine, your body needs rest. Body never lies, as the author also says. But somewhere I feel that the resilience comes in when you mind over matter is something that you choose. And each time when I did it, during any board meeting, the first meeting with the general managers, the first meeting with the board, and then switching new jobs, moving to new city, moving into a new family, and everything, all of those choices, wherever there were excuses which were coming into my mind, I rose above that. I tried to rise above that. I still try to do, because in some or the other way, I mean, mind is something else that you can never control. But the fundamental learning through those surprising moments have been that if you go past that excuse, that's where the greatness lies, that's where the good life lies, that's where the excellence lies with you. So I try to practice it and hoping that I, excel in this journey of life in corporate. So yeah.
Thanks for that, Aishi. Ravi, to you. Now, I would like you to share some real life examples from the book, from your experience, that you have practiced and that has benefited your leadership style, from anything from these 101 ways or even more of that. How has it benefited you as a leader and your style of leadership?
I go with the two things. One is from home. Leadership starts from the home. Yeah, as you said, the fruits fall not far away from the tree. I nurture my kids by putting a lot of those old Tamil songs of particularly Kannadasan and Wali, who was sung in front by MGR.
Right.
Okay, my children, even at the age of 3, 4, they hear songs in the car of those songs only. Wow. Yeah, that's the way I nurtured because they have to understand this. Tavaru என்றால் என்ன, தப்பு என்றால் என்ன. That time only I come to know what is tavaru and what is tappu. Tappu means it is doing willfully is wrong. That is tappu. That is I hope that Tamilians, non-Tamilians can understand this.
Yeah, you should still.
Tavaru என்பது தெரியாம செய்யறது. That's we don't know. Inadvertently we are doing it. But tappuங்கிறது தெரிஞ்சு செய்யறது.
So doing it knowingly and unknowingly.
Yeah, and then I also say வறுமை நினைத்து பயந்து விடாதே, திறமை இருக்கு மறந்து விடாதே. That's very, very, very important. So have knowledge, automatically everything will come. That's how I nurture my kids. And now they are not listening, I'm very open to that, but because of their age, but I nurtured like that only. That's
a common challenge.
Yeah. And on the professional life, go perpendicular. Because you got to be different. You are in crowd, you are neglected.
Yeah.
That's where I'm putting this word very strongly. There are many youngsters. Please go do opposite direction. Please go opposite direction. I'm not telling be activist, but think differently. When you go to the Google, if you are answering all the questions to a Google HR manager, you are rejected. Because Google knows the answer. You got to give a good questions. You got to give a lot of open-ended questions. So like that, you got to think differently and make sure that you are out of the crowd. If you are in the crowd, you will become redundant. You should not become redundant to all youngsters. So when I joined the company, there are several brands which is not known in India. So when I go to the crowd, first time I went to the crowd and I have been rejected left, right, center by all the customers. But I went perpendicularly. When everybody is giving one product, I have given the system. So the completely I am coming out of the crowd. So then I taken a lot of business from them. And that has given me a lot of business. Yeah. So go perpendicular. Even when you are going out, go perpendicular. Yeah, that's the thing.
Lovely. Very, very nice and valid points. And I think the key message is be unique. Yes. So like you said, an acronym. What an acronym that I use is about you. YOU. You are outstanding and unique.
Yeah.
So to see, thanks. So to see how you can bring out your uniqueness. Yes, that's a super point. Thanks for that, Ravi. To you, Aishi. So can you share some real life examples of some of the points that have been mentioned in the book on leaders that you've seen, who've practiced it and, have been impacted the organization positively. You're from a HR background, so you're more a people person, and I'm sure like you would have loved to observe and see what are those things that stood out and how it has impacted the growth of the organization.
So I will go back to the keeping it simple point. And I think the best example that I can cite is not far from me in my life, which is my husband only. So my husband currently is the chief manager of planning and consumer durable at Eagles Credit. And Eagles Credit in consumer durable division, if you look at the annual report, has grown tremendously over the last couple of years. So through his eyes, I have been able to see how the business has grown. And I feel that, of course, like Sangeeta is saying, that all the business growth is because of the soldiers that are working towards it, the people who are actually making that business happen. He is really wonderful at keeping things simple. I remember, so we have this monthly review with our CEO, and it was the first time that we had stepped foot into Chennai. and get started working. And it was, I think, his first or second month of working in the organization. And he was struggling because of the weather change. He had 104 fever. The viral fever had caught up. And still, I saw him, he was working really, with a lot of concentration on the tech and the numbers and the movement. And that's when I realized that he was constantly on the call as well, along with, there were 5 or 6 more other people who had been working on the same deck for the previous night as well. Like for the past 2 days, they were relentlessly working on it so that the C was able to see and then make out the numbers for the month, and it gives them the go ahead. But that's when it sort of struck me that it's actually pretty simple. Just showing up even when even when you don't feel like getting up out of the bed, because your mind actually is focused on delivering that excellence. So I always see that's the one thing that I am learning from him. The simple thing of doing your karma. It's very well illustrated in Mahabharata as well, that you need to do your karma. You don't need to think about the phal or the consequence part of it, because success is a consequence of the constant efforts that you put in. And consistent efforts are in the small things only. When even if you don't feel like it, you end up showing up at work. So work like it's your religion, and work like it's your duty. So that is something that I have learned, and I'm still practicing it. So yeah, keeping it simple and so these small fundamental things actually end up making a difference in the organization, making a difference in the numbers that at the end of the day drive the business. So that is my primary learning. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of leaders who already practice it, but I've seen it firsthand in my home. So yeah, that's the best example that I think that I thought that I should share with you guys. So yeah.
Thanks. That reminds me of both leadership karma and the business karma that you spoke about, which I've spoken about in my books as well. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. And probably now we could throw open it to the audience for questions, both online and offline. So any questions to any of the panelists, happy to take them. I think that's for you, Ravi. Me to read it out for you?
Yeah, I can, yes.
As someone leading a European multinational in India, how do you align global leadership principles with local business realities? Is a question from Bharat Kumar.
Okay, yes. Bharat Kumar, thanks for a nice question. First of all, we ought to bring that principle, in with nurturing with our culture. Because when you have leadership principle, global leadership principle, you are bringing that completely in our country, where there are every 1,000 kilometers there is a change in the culture. So you got to make it's mixed with blend with our local culture, and then you bring it here. I think your leadership quality will be very good. And having said that, I want to tell you, universally, you should go with ICE. That is I for integrity. Integrity, wherever you are, the integrity should remain the same. And you got to respect the local compliance, and you be a good ethical leader. That's very important for you. Yeah. This is for me again.
No.
Sharma emphasizes the importance of daily habits. What's one daily habit that has made the biggest impact in your life? Shruti from T Nagar. Well, I can share, and then both of you may also want to share. So one is I have been an art of living practitioner for the last 20 years. Every single day, I ensure I do my pranayama, Bastrika, Sudarshan Kriya, and some bit of meditation. And I think it has been an absolute game changer for me. And it helps me to manage my stress levels and take the challenges heads on. So for me, that has been so. Discover what is it that ticks for you, and what is the habit. What are the habits that you would like to stick on and see that makes a difference? Maybe any thoughts from both of you?
For me, it's reading books, because reading books, it gives you a lot of pleasure, first of all, and you are not at all outdated. You get refreshed, you get recharged, and when you go out, you can reprime. Because I find that if you give me knowledge, then I will bow down. Because knowledge is like a river. The river flows who is humble. So first thing, habit is read books. Today with a noisy world completely, and world is also noisy, world is also VUCA. VUCA is nothing but it is very volatile, it is uncertain, it is complexity, and it is ambiguity. In order to have in order to overcome, you got to navigate. The knowledge is extremely powerful. For gaining that knowledge, social media can give 5 to 10%, but reading books gives you balance 90%.
Wonderful. Thank you. You, Aishi, anything?
Yeah, a couple of habits. So, I had a really nasty habit of looking at my phone the first thing in the morning. So that used to be a terrible start to my day because you'll be bombarded with all the emails and the social media of the world. That's the one thing that I have stopped doing actually. I just spend time with myself the first couple of hours. I do not look at my phone the moment that I step out of my house and I started with the office. That's when I look at my phone. So that's one habit. The second thing is taking time out for the thing that I love to do, which is singing. So I ensure that at least, if not daily, at least once a week, I am able to record songs, I'm able to release songs, release the covers, and that actually keeps me feel a bit more alive each day. So. Yeah,
that's interesting. Interesting thing to do. Thanks for that. Probably Ravi, would you like to take this? What advice would you give to someone looking to move from good performance to legendary impact in their career? Velan from Salem.
Absolutely. One is that performance everybody can do. I think when you work hard, all that. But beyond performance, particularly for the youngsters, please listen. Create legacy. Legacy is when again I come back to the song, Tamil song. It's not important. How you have lived, that's more important. So you got to create that legacy wherever you are. You work for 1 month, or you work for 1 year, or 10 years. Create legacy. Create a stamp that I have done this. So legacy lives forever. So that is how you have to move from your good performance to a career legend. Yeah.
Wonderful. Beautifully said. This question, Aishi, I think as a HR professional, you will be a right person to answer this. How can organizations create an environment where every team member is empowered to maximize their gifts? Leela from Pondicherry wants to know.
Okay, so how can organizations create an environment where every team member is empowered to maximize their gifts? I think more from an organizational standpoint, I will go to the people manager standpoint, because organizations at the end of the day, when it comes to culture, the drivers of the culture, in my opinion, are the people managers, because they are the ones who directly impact how the organization is perceived by the individual, by the employees. So, as Sangeeta rightly pointed out about psychological safety. So, first of all, two things, yes, psychological safety, and second, listening to your team members, and third is appreciation. I think these three things, they really make a huge difference in ensuring that, first of all, your team is able to recognize what their gifts are, because at times even we don't know what we're really good at unless somebody actually tells us and points it out, like a coach of a basketball or baseball team. They actually recognize and see and point out what the strengths are of their respective team members, and the team members sometimes do not know it, and I think movies like Coach Carter and Chuck Berry are a very big example of it. So, listening intently, ensuring that your team members know what their strengths are, and commending them, and at times ensuring that it gets recognized, their efforts get recognized. I think that's when you'll be able to see extraordinary growth and results, in my opinion. Yeah.
Nice, thanks for that. Ravi, the next question is for you. Can you share a moment in your career when stepping out of your comfort zone led to extraordinary growth or results?
Absolutely, yeah. Today we have something in our office that 3M. 3M is Monday Motivation Mantra. Today I was talking about growth is not equal to comfort zone. They are completely opposite. I said, no, go perpendicular. You go perpendicular out of your comfort zone, you get attracted on growth. So when I moved from sales to operations, it was a completely uncomfort, out of comfort, because I come from a completely sales background. Now I have to handle a complete P&L where my reportees were elder to me. Okay, so I need to handle, because they are all Jambavans having good experience on supply chain, operations, all that. That I cannot go and have a directed, you do this, it will not work out. So you got to learn again what exactly is required for that. You have to come out of that comfort zone and work towards that, and definitely the results will fall. That's what I said. Yeah. And again, I worked in a multinational company because of some obvious reason. I went to MSME. There's a huge difference, 180 degrees again, the cultural difference, the process difference, all that. It's a totally not comfortable area. But still, I made up my mind and make sure that this is a non-comfortable area. But I need to grow from here. I made the company completely a transformation. Now I'm back to multinational company. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for that. Aishi, the next question is for you, but I must also acknowledge MMA for this Mentimeter scanning the code. I think that's very well done. Thanks for that. So Aishi, as a young HR leader, how do you identify and nurture hidden potential in individuals across the organization?
I think again, this answer is going to dovetail my previous answer as well. I currently, I am interfacing with a lot of cross-functional teams. I do have people in the team who I work with, but it's more of an individual contributor role. But I feel that there is always an opportunity to nurture and to share your experience. But as a person, I genuinely feel that you should always suggest and not advise. If at all somebody comes up to you and asks and looks for inspiration, that's when you should end up sharing, otherwise it's just preaching around. So when it comes to identifying and nurturing hidden potential, I have managed a lot of high potential programs in my previous organization as well, and the fundamental thing over there is more from a measurement standpoint related to the competencies that have been really shaped the organization's competencies in line with the values of the organization and what is expected behaviors that will end up exhibiting those values. So you ensure that you're able to handpick or identify through the right assessments which are in alignment with the competency framework or the values of the organization, and that's when you're able to see those little gems of outliers who you would want to develop further and who will be the future of the organization. So that has been my key metric. I mean, the assessments change, the measurement parameters change, but the backbone that still remains is what are the values that the company stands for, and what are the associated behaviors that ensure that those values are getting executed. So that is my primary scale, that in my experience, which help in identifying the hidden potential, and nurturing again is more from how can you develop them. So there are really options available for nurturing all those competencies and values in that identified talent. So that's how you address the solutions once you're able to identify them. So, yeah.
Ravi, the next question from Sai is for you. How to reconcile integrity with chalta hai attitude Indians are infamous for? Do you see Indians becoming less chalta hai?
Chalta hai is now it is a jugaad, because Indians are predominantly a jugaad. Americans we say that yes like this. They say, or you say yes or no. So we try to do that, but integrity should be a rock. It should be a bedrock. Never ever compromise in integrity. Have your team no tolerance on integrity. As I said, integrity is the foremost. You have competency, you have everything, but without integrity, it will get completely crashed. So I always say to my executive assistant when I'm doing travel expenses, inadvertently, what I want to tell you that I should not even inadvertently take 1 rupee extra from the company by expenses. But company can willfully not pay, even 1,000 rupees is fine for me. That's the integrity we should keep it. If nobody is watching, you follow what is to be told. So that is the integrity which is really required. So India is changing, moving from Chalta hai. Today, yesterday Formula 2, our people have won. You have seen that war, Brahmos and all hitting exactly on the striking, on the exact point. So there is Chalta hai attitudes. If it would have been continued, we would have not been like this. So integrity is a mother for everything. Don't leave integrity.
Yes, in fact, I'm reminded of this quote, doing the right thing even when nobody is watching. That's the key thing for integrity. Great, yes. Okay, so the next question, what does greatness personally mean to you, and how has that definition evolved over your career? You want to take that, Ravi?
Yes. For me, the greatness is that what is the legacy I made in the life? So that is very, very important for me. The greatness should not come in the title, all that. Greatness is, career is from corporate, college to corporate, and the success, it is not a straight line. It is not a Brahmos. Brahmos can eat from one place to other place. But career, you have a roller coaster. You fail and fail fast. Fail in before you are 35. So that you are learning a lot of things from the failure and keep moving. But if the failure is again occurring, don't think the stepping stone is near to you. That's very, very important. So I feel that we have a very good greatness in the personality. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. I think that's nice. Any other questions? Or I think one more question. Okay. To you, Ravi, again. What role has continuous learning, especially reading, played in shaping your leadership approach over the years?
Yeah, as I said, learning is to be our breathing. When the breathing stops, we should stop our learning. That's the way it should go. It should be a lifelong student. Always consider the college, to coming out of college, you can say that I am now a corporate. No. There is a difference between college and the corporate. College, you study 95% and you have 5% of test exams. Whereas in corporate, you have daily tests. You got to learn from your job, and training will be given only 5% of everything. So continuous learning is essential for today, that you got to have a differentiation from the crowd. That's very important.
Beautiful. In fact, I'm reminded of this video by, I think, Shiv Khera. So he says about 85% of the world's billionaires are first-time entrepreneurs. First time they've come. And what is this common thing, the secret that they've done is, they say we all read books, about 50 books a year. Right? Because he says one single idea from any book can just completely change your thought process, and that is the game changer. They say we don't read fictions, it's more the non-fiction books, because that's where we get the ideas and see how to implement and pave way to be a billionaire. So if you all want to be a billionaire, read more books, attend the Read and Grow session every month. That happens.
And one more thing on the books is that book is a lovely friend. You can ask every time, it will not get irritated. You can keep on asking. You can throw the book. Again, it will come back to you. So that's a very, very nice of that book. Yeah.
Nice, thanks. Yeah, Ayushi, I think the next question is for you. How do you foster a culture of purpose and passion among employees, and based on the core ideas from this book? Lokesh wants to know.
Wow, really, really heavy questions. Thank you so much, Lokesh. Right. So I think the first step would be to give them the book and ask them to read it. So that would be the first step, so that they get to know the 101 ways. Culture of purpose and passion. I feel that it's more intrinsic in nature. I mean, the purpose that lets you get up in the morning out of your bed, and the passion that helps you reach your workplace, your office. That I feel is intrinsic. What we can do as an organization is ensure that it gets fueled. And how do we fuel it? So, as a learning and development and OD professional, what we can do is help them first identify their strengths, of course, and that happens through listening, ensuring that there is an inclusive, buy-in of your employees on the policies that we make in all the designing of the people development practices. That is where we have their buy-in as well, because it cannot just be one size fits all. So ensuring that you foster, like I said, the purpose and passion through the solutions that you're building in the organization. And third is actually ensuring that you identify that what's in it for that employee, and what is the one thing for each and every learning input that you're getting at the end of the day, or the ask that you're receiving from the employee, from your target audience. You're able to address those pointed asks, and you're able to build solutions that are truly beneficial for them. So, talking to them, delivering the solutions, and at the same time ensuring that you have incremental improvement in place as well. So, whatever journeys you're implementing, you ensure that feedback or the buy-in in terms of what can be improved has to be there in every cycle of the implementation of that solution is in place. So that's how I feel the culture gets shaped, and you fuel the passion and the intrinsic motivation that drives it. Yeah.
Sure, thank you. So with that, I think we come to an end of this month's Read and Grow.